Nick Majerison here, welcome to TopMedTalk. Today we have a conference highlight called How Do You Measure a Patient's Temperature? The conversation features Professor Monty Mythen and his two guests, Dr. Simeon West, Consultant Anaesthetist at the University College London Hospitals, who sits on the board at Regional Anaesthesia UK, and Mark Harper, Consultant Anaesthetist at the Brighton and Sussex University Hospitals, with a research interest in the prevention of perioperative hypothermia and the use of cold water adaptation for therapeutic purposes. Have a little listen.
TopMedTalk. Area where and how do you measure temperature? Because this has been controversial forever. Nose, pharynx, blood, bladder, ears.
Well, I think perioperatively, what you should be doing is as we put out in a nice guideline. You should be doing. Well, you're not going to do direct measurements because you're not going to be putting pulmonary artery catheters in. So, what the next best thing is indirect measurements. So things like nasopharyngeal's good, sublingual's good. Zero flux is a new technology which can be used very easily in awake patients, and bladder temperatures as well.
And do you do core and peripheral? Or is that gone out of fashion? When I was a senior registrar back in the last century, that was quite popular to do T1 and T2.
I think core peripheral is intraoperatively is interesting information, but unlikely to change your management. Preoperatively, it might. If you've got big preoperative core peripheral gradient, that's a really strong indication to pre-warm that patient. And I think that's the way forward. That's how we need to be targeting our. Can you do that with little the sort of things you stick on kids to measure that? Can you put a little colour indicator, sticky tape thing? You could do, but you can just actually use those infrared thermometers.
Okay.
You have to put it on measurement mode. Because they've got measurement mode, which is the temperature it's actually reading,
right? And
then they've got fudge factor mode, which is the temperature they think it might be.
Right. Okay, Sim.
I was going to ask, you mentioned earlier about thermal imaging cameras, and have you had any experience of those? And because they're coming down, they're cheaper in price, aren't they? You know, you can get one. We've got one now that we're looking in to see whether we can be predictive about how successful our blocks are with the sympathetic block. We see that emerge very, very quickly. But they're relatively cheap devices that you can attach to your iPhone. Have you had much experience of those with warming?
I haven't. There's somewhere I've got a lot of ideas about how they could be useful, and the iPhone ones are great as a general thing, but I think what you need is something that is really accurate. And to get one, I have looked into this, to get one which is accurate to about 0.1 degree plus or minus, you have to pay sort of more like around £1,000, which is still actually, as you say, it's come down a lot in price, but I think that would be really useful to have a properly accurate one. I think when you're looking at blocks, you just need to see trends, and I think the iPhone cameras, which I've also looked at, are good enough. Yeah.
TopMedTalk.
This edition of TopMedTalk was recorded at the Institute of Sport, Exercise and Health, live from an Enhanced Recovery After Surgery Leadership Forum. This particular piece was taken from a longer conversation to be found under the title Cold, Kill or Cure, live from the ISEH. Don't forget, of course, you can meet the TopMedTalk team. We're all over the place at the moment, mainly following the EBPOM meetings. Why not check out ebpom.org? Click on the section marked Meetings. Our next big event is EBPOM 2018, the London Perioperative Medicine Congress. That's at the Institute of Engineering and Technology between the 4th and the 6th of July. Check out the website for more details, ebpom.org.